Hi guys, welcome back to another reaction video. You guys are going to be checking out this video. Scientists revealed surprising generic origins of Greece. Wow, the last time we did a video was why the Greece DNA is so unique, and this time around is the origin of the uniqueness of Greece. I really want to know, okay? So let's check this out.
Everything we knew about the origins of the Greeks wasn't the whole story. The ancient Greeks,
Wow,
creators of
yes.
democracy,
What if you wanted the
philosophy,
whole
and art, are often seen as a unique and isolated people with a singular cultural identity. But modern genetic
very
research is
isolated
telling
people.
us something even more fascinating. Scientists have analyzed
Wow.
DNA from ancient Greek skeletons and compared it with modern populations. What they found is that the Greek people
Oh,
have deep, unbroken ties to their ancient ancestors, but they're also a product of thousands of years of migration and cultural exchange. Today's video is about uncovering the real genetic origins of the Greeks. Where do they come from? How closely are they related to ancient civilizations like the Mycenaeans and Minoans? And what influence did migrations from the Eurasian steppe and Anatolia?
wow. So this video is going to be uncovering the real generic of Greece. Okay, where did Greece actually come from? The real ancient, the real connection of Greece with the ancient Greece. Okay, what is the main origin of Greece? Wow, I feel like this is actually going to broaden my 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 head, like broaden my understanding about Greece. Okay, so let's continue.
Have on shaping the modern Greek population. Stick around, because this is not just about
Anatolia.
numbers and data. It's a story of identity, resilience, and evolution that spans millennia. By the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of how genetics can rewrite history and why the Greek people are an incredible mix of continuity and change. We'll also explore how major historical events, like migrations, wars, and conquests, left traces in Greek DNA. So, if you've ever wondered how ancient Greek myths compare to scientific truth, you're in the right place. Let's dive into the surprising story of Greek ancestry. Greek mythology has given us beautiful, legendary stories about the origins of the Greek people. According to tradition, all Greeks descend from Helen, the son of Deucalion and Pyrrha, who survived a great flood. From Helen's descendants came the four major Greek tribes: the Dorians, Ionians, Aeolians, and Achaeans. These tribes were considered unique among the...
Yeah, that's why Greece prefer to be called Hellenes. Okay, so Greece prefer to be called Hellenes, but outside the Greece you can call them Greece. But Greece prefer to be called Hellenes. I've been trying to upload this video of the reason why Greece does not like to be called Greeks in Greece, rather Hellenes. I'm going to be uploading that, okay?
Ancient world, with divine ancestry connecting them to gods like Zeus, Apollo, and Athena. For centuries, these myths have shaped how Greeks view their identity. While these stories are fascinating, they don't fully explain the scientific origins of the Greek people. Myths offer poetic explanations, but genetics allows us to dig into the real history. And here's where things get interesting. The Greeks were never as isolated as their myths might suggest. Ancient Greek culture was a product of interaction with many different populations over thousands of years. By analyzing ancient DNA, scientists have found that Greek ancestry is a blend of several ancient populations, not just one group of people tied to mythological origins. Genetic research is showing us that the real story of Greek identity is much more complex and much more interesting than the myths alone can tell. Ancient Greece was not just a closed, homogeneous society. Instead, it was shaped by waves of migration, trade, and cultural exchange with other civilizations. So, while the Greeks can still celebrate their rich mythology, science gives us a chance to appreciate an even deeper story, one that is just as incredible as the myths themselves. The most exciting part of uncovering the genetic origins of the Greeks has been through DNA sequencing projects. Scientists have taken DNA samples from ancient bones and teeth, some from Mycenaean tombs on the Greek mainland and others from Minoan ruins on Crete. They then compared these ancient samples to the DNA of modern Greeks and other ancient populations from surrounding regions. The findings were groundbreaking. Both the Mycenaeans and Minoans share genetic similarities with modern Greeks, meaning that there is a direct link between today's Greek population and these ancient Bronze Age civilizations. This was an exciting discovery because it shows that Greek identity has deep roots and has remained surprisingly intact over thousands of years. But that's not all. The studies revealed that the ancient Greeks were not just
Wow,
isolated within their region. They were part of a
that's not
larger network
all.
of populations across the Mediterranean and Near East.
Yeah,
Specifically, both ancient and modern Greeks share significant ancestry with Neolithic
I know
farmers
it.
from Anatolia. This tells us that people from Anatolia migrated into Greece thousands of years ago, bringing with them new
Wow, both
agricultural
ancient and modern
practices and
degrees.
genes that became part of the Greek genetic makeup. Another
Oh,
interesting
so
detail,
Anatolian
the
actually
DNA of
migrated
ancient
into Greece
Mycenaeans
thousands years
also
ago.
contains a small amount of steppe
Calm
ancestry,
down,
likely
okay?
connected to the Indo-European migrations. This means that, over time, the Greeks
Agricultural
absorbed new
practices and
genetic
genes.
influences from people.
That's why Greece actually agricultural practices and genes. That's why Greece actually based on natural food because they are mainly on agriculture. They eat natural food, like that's why it is actually in one of their gene. Agriculture is in Greece gene. Okay,
People migrating from the Eurasian steppe. The takeaway.
Mycenaeans.
Modern Greek DNA is a blend of
Wow.
ancient continuity and outside interaction,
Hmm.
showing how the Greeks have evolved through time. To understand the deeper roots of Greek ancestry, we need to go
Yeah.
back to the Neolithic period,
Oh.
around 8,000 to 9,000 years ago. During this time, farmers from
Oh.
Anatolia, modern-day Turkey,
Ancient
migrated into
continuity.
Europe, bringing
Wow.
agriculture with them. These early farmers didn't just introduce farming techniques. They also left a significant genetic mark on the populations of
Wow.
Greece and other parts of Mediterranean. What makes this period so important is that these Neolithic migrations laid the foundation of Greek ancestry. Studies show
Okay, the modern day Greece actually were the one that migrated to other country, then bring back the agriculture into Greece. Okay, so now they didn't just bring only agriculture; they made the agricultural products in Greece broad, like they made it so broad.
that both ancient and modern Greeks carry a large percentage of their DNA from these early Anatolian settlers. This means
Oh,
that long before the rise of city-states like Athens or Sparta, the people living in Greece were already connected to populations across the Aegean and Near East. The Anatolian farmers didn't just stop in
wow.
Greece. They spread their influence
Hmm.
across Europe. This is why modern Greeks share some genetic similarities with other European populations, especially in southern Europe. However, what makes the Greeks unique is that they preserved a closer connection to these early Neolithic populations, with continuity in their DNA that has lasted for thousands of
That's what.
years. This continuity is remarkable when you think about
Yeah, I
all the
know.
changes Greece has gone through: wars, invasions, migrations. Despite these disruptions, the genetic legacy of these Neolithic farmers has remained intact, showing just how resilient the Greek population has been over time. The Bronze Age gave rise to two legendary Greek
Invasions,
civilizations:
wars,
the Minoans
migrations.
on Crete and the Mycenaeans on mainland Greece. The Minoans were known for their advanced palaces and art, while the Mycenaeans, with their warrior culture, inspired epic stories like the Iliad. But the question of their origins has puzzled historians for years. Were these civilizations native to Greece, or did they migrate from somewhere else? DNA studies have given us the answer.
With the word
The
echo
Minoans
change.
and Mycenaeans were closely related to each other,
Hmm.
and both shared ancestry with Neolithic farmers from Anatolia. This means that these early Greek civilizations didn't just appear out of nowhere. They evolved locally from populations that had lived in the region for thousands of years. The Mycenaeans also showed traces of steppe ancestry, which is connected to the Indo-European migrations. This suggests that new influences arrived in Greece during the Bronze Age, shaping the culture and genetics of the Mycenaeans.
Wow.
These findings are important because they show that while Greek culture was influenced by outside populations, its roots remained deeply connected to the region. The people who built the palaces of Knossos and Mycenae were not foreigners. They were part of a continuous Greek lineage that stretches back to the Neolithic period. Around 5000 years ago, waves of people from the Eurasian steppes began migrating across Europe. These groups carried new technologies, languages, and ideas, and they are linked to the spread of Indo-European languages, the family of languages that includes Greek. DNA evidence shows that these steppe migrants left a
Okay,
subtle but
guys. In as much as people migrate out of the Greece origin themselves migrate out of Greece, they still come back and practice the Greeks origin, the Greece culture it is not taken out of them. It's just like the previous video I made. Greece origin and culture is a continuous one. So when you take something out of Greece and bring something back out of the Greece, they pick the good ones and filter it. The filter what they take in Greece, okay? They filter it and then keep the ones that can easily be adapted, that is okay for the people of Greece, thereby taking out of the one that they can't take, because the origin is still there. It's still going to stand strong for them, you guys.
Lasting mark on Greek ancestry. Scientists found traces of steppe ancestry in Mycenaean DNA, suggesting that the Mycenaeans absorbed new influences during the Indo-European migrations. However, the steppe contribution to Greek genetics is relatively small, much less than what we find in Northern European populations, such as those in Germany or the Baltic region. This tells us that while Greece was touched by these migrations, the core of its genetic identity was rooted in earlier Neolithic and Bronze Age populations. The Indo-European migrations likely brought important cultural shifts to Greece, including changes in language and social structure. Linguists believe that the Greek language emerged as part of this broader Indo-European family, though it developed independently over time. The warrior culture seen in the Mycenaeans, with their fortified palaces and heroic tales, may also reflect influences from the steppe migrants. Despite these new elements, Greek culture remained unique. The people living in Greece blended the influences of the steppe migrants with their older traditions, forming a distinct civilization that would become the foundation for classical Greece. This period of interaction between local and foreign influences highlights a key theme in Greek history: the ability to adapt without losing identity. The Aegean Sea has long been a crossroads of civilizations. Throughout history, people from neighboring regions like Anatolia, Egypt.
Did you hear that? They actually blended okay, calm down. They blend from the immigrations, okay, from the migrations. They blend it with their own, which forms the modern Greece of today. Blending it, informing the modern, like they didn't just drop their own belief, they didn't drop their culture, they didn't drop anything. They just blended with the modern, the ones that that were brought into the Greece, turning into a modern Greece of today. Oh, wow, wow, wow.
And the Levant interacted with the Greek world through trade, migration, and conquest. These exchanges left subtle but lasting traces in the genetic makeup of the Greek people.
The ability to adapt.
Both ancient and modern Greeks.
That is what I'm saying. The ability to adapt without losing identity. You don't just go in and take in what someone else is doing without, I don't know how to put it, the ability to adapt without losing identity. You still remain your identity, yourself, but you are blending it with other one, making yourself, like upgrading yourself. That is simply the explanation here, okay?
Shows some shared ancestry with populations from the Eastern Mediterranean, particularly from Anatolia and the Levant. These connections are not surprising, considering that ancient Greece was part of a thriving trade network that spanned the Aegean and beyond. For example, the Minoans, one of the earliest Greek civilizations, traded extensively with Egyptians and Phoenicians. This interaction wasn't just about goods. It also facilitated the movement of people and ideas. Over time, small groups of migrants from these neighboring regions settled in Greece, contributing to the diversity of its population. Even though these migrations were not large, they added new genetic layers to the Greek population, creating a unique blend of genes from across the Eastern Mediterranean. However, the core of Greek ancestry remained local. While the Greeks absorbed these outside influences, they preserved their distinct identity. This balance between openness to the world and cultural continuity is one of the reasons why ancient Greece was able to develop such a rich and influential civilization. Over the centuries, Greece has experienced several conquests and occupations. Each of these events left a subtle mark on Greek genetics. When Rome conquered Greece in the 2nd century BC, Greek culture deeply influenced Roman civilization. But did Roman genes have a similar effect on the Greeks? Surprisingly, the genetic impact of the Roman occupation appears to have been minimal, with the core Greek population remaining stable throughout this period. The Byzantine Empire, which followed the fall of Rome, was essentially a continuation of Greek culture under a Christian framework. During this time, there was little population displacement, meaning that the genetic continuity from ancient Greece remained intact. However, the Ottoman Empire, which ruled Greece for nearly 400 years, introduced new cultural influences and some genetic mixing. Ottoman rule brought migrants from different parts of the empire into Greece, including people from the Balkans, Anatolia, and the Middle East. Although these populations contributed to the genetic diversity of Greece, the core ancestry of the Greeks remained remarkably stable. What's fascinating is that despite centuries of conquest and foreign rule, modern Greek DNA still shows a strong connection to ancient Greek populations. The genetic influence of these empires is present, but not dominant, reinforcing the idea that the Greek people have maintained a continuous identity throughout their history. One of the most remarkable aspects of Greek ancestry is the continuity that stretches across thousands of years. From the Neolithic farmers to the Mycenaeans, and from classical Greece to the modern era, the core of Greek identity has remained intact. DNA studies have shown that modern Greeks share significant genetic similarities with their ancient ancestors, proving that the population of Greece has been relatively stable over time.
Continuity,
At the same time, Greek identity has evolved through interaction with other cultures. The Greek people have absorbed influences from the Aegean, the Eastern Mediterranean, and the Eurasian steppe, creating a unique cultural and genetic mosaic. This ability to adapt while preserving tradition is a hallmark of Greek history. The continuity of Greek ancestry is not just about genetics, it's also about cultural identity. Throughout history, the Greek people have faced challenges, including foreign conquests and migrations. Yet, they have always managed to maintain a sense of who they are, preserving their language, traditions, and values. This combination of continuity and change is what makes the Greek story so compelling. Today, modern Greeks are proud of both their ancient roots and their ability to adapt. Whether it's in the arts, politics, or philosophy, the legacy of ancient Greece continues to inspire the world. So, what does the genetic story of the Greeks tell us? It's a story of both continuity and change, tradition and adaptation. The Greek people are deeply connected to their ancient ancestors, with a direct link to the Minoans, Mycenaeans, and Neolithic farmers who lived in the region thousands of years ago. At the same time, their DNA reflects centuries of interaction with neighboring populations, including steppe migrants, Anatolians, and people from the Eastern Mediterranean. What makes Greek ancestry so fascinating is that, despite these influences, the core identity of the Greek people has remained remarkably stable. From the Bronze Age civilizations to the modern era, the Greeks have shown an incredible ability to adapt without losing their sense of self. In many ways, the story of Greek ancestry mirrors the history of Greece itself, a blend of continuity and transformation, shaped by both local traditions and global interactions. The next time you think about Greece, remember that the story of the people is not just one of ancient heroes and philosophers. It's a living, breathing story that continues to evolve, just as it has for thousands of years.
You guys, you could really tell that Greece, they are not easily to change. They have this continuity. Okay, you could really tell that Greece are not easily to be changed. Continuation is in the gene, adaptation is in the gene. You guys, they cannot be changed. What Greece does is that they recognize the ancient and modern Greece. So if they are learning something from your particular country, they're not dropping theirs, they are increasing it, modelizing their own, making it look more modern, making it look more modern. So they have this continuity in their gene, like they don't drop their tradition for anything. They continue the tradition in a modern way. That's beautiful, you guys. That's amazing. I really learned a lot today. Like you guys, this actually brought my mentality about Greece, and it's increased my mentality about Greece. Anyway, please tell me more about Greece on the comment section. What else did they not mention here that you have to explain more on the comment section? We all are still learning. Don't forget to like, subscribe. I'll see you on my next one. Bye.